campaign trail.
It made me wonder, well, just how are people seeing me?
Now, a voice for generations.
The measure of any society is how it treats its women and girls.
Mom in chief turned political dynamo.
Our motto is, when they go low, we go high.
Tonight, a revealing look at First Lady Michelle Obama. She's more than the first African-American First Lady. Today, she's a global icon and a political powerhouse. I'm Randy Kay, and this is a CNN special report, History Made, the legacy of Michelle Obama. January 17th, 1964, on the south side of Chicago, a future First Lady is born. Michelle LaVaughn Robinson grew up in a one-bedroom apartment in a working-class neighborhood known as the South Shore. Her older brother, Craig, remembers it well.
We didn't know how poor we were, so it was terrific.
Her mother, Marion Robinson, volunteered at school so she could keep a close eye on her children. Her father, Fraser Robinson, worked for the city's water department. In his early 30s, he was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis.
We watched a man who was disabled get up and go to work every day.
He was our provider. He was our champion, our hero. But as he got sicker, it got harder for him to walk. It took him longer to get dressed in the morning. But if he was in pain, he never let on. He never stopped smiling and laughing.
He conducted himself with so much dignity and so much purpose, and was so committed to his family and so committed to his kids that he left that family with something very deep they seemed to come back to again and again.
Her father instilled in her a sense of hard work and commitment. The young Michelle Robinson was a good student who played piano and liked to write short stories. At Whitney Young Magnet School, she was class treasurer. Her brother recalls his little sister's strong will.
She bossed you around?
Oh yeah, whatever games we wanted to play, or she wanted to play, we played.
Every night they had dinner as a family and often went to drive-in movies.
They lived in a small bungalow, but there was an idyllic quality to the way she describes her family, the warmth of her parents, the stability she felt coming from them. Even though they didn't have a lot of means, they had an immense belief in education and its power.
When her brother got into Princeton University, the future First Lady was determined to attend the same Ivy League school.
The story she tells, if Craig can get in there, I certainly can. So she applied and got in. And you're laughing, but that's how she thinks.
At Princeton, she majored in sociology with a focus on African American studies. She went on to Harvard Law School. Then in 1988, took a job with Sidley Austin Law Firm in Chicago. That is where she would meet the man who would change her life. To hear her tell it, the one with the funny-sounding name.
I probably did what a lot of people do when they hear about Barack Obama. First I thought, what kind of name is Barack Obama?
She was to mentor him at the law firm, but he was late on his first day and hardly made a good impression. Still, when Barack Obama didn't see a ring on her finger, he asked her out.
First of all, she thought it was inappropriate to have any inter-office dating, even though I was only there for the summer.
Michelle Robinson eventually agreed to go out with him.
So I said, okay, we'll go on this one date, but we won't call it a date. I'll spend the day with you.
At that point, I thought, okay, I think I got something going.
And by the end of that date, it was over. I was sold.
But she still had another test that Barack Obama needed to pass.
My sister had heard my dad and I talking about how you can tell a guy's true character when you take him out on the basketball court. So she asked me to take him to go play. Had a gauntlet for the guy to run through.
So when the game was over, what did you report back to your sister?
I told my sister, I was like, this guy's terrific.
Barack and Michelle Obama married in 1992. Her father had died the year before.
He never lived to see the things that the Obamas would go on to do, but he's kind of the family's lodestar.
He is the hole in my heart. His loss is my scar. But let me tell you something, his memory drives me forward every single day of my life. Every day, I work to make him proud.
The couple settled in Chicago, where in 1998, Michelle Obama gave birth to their first daughter, Malia. Sasha would arrive a few years later. Mrs. Obama eventually left corporate law and landed a job at the University of Chicago hospitals. She would soon leave her high-powered job behind.
You believe in what this country can be.
By now, her husband, Barack Obama, was Senator Barack Obama, and he had his sights set on the White House.
Michelle gave up a big career, but there is nothing to compete with this historic opportunity for those who sense that they can be a part of history.
She is the love of my life, the rock of our household.
When you strip away Princeton and Harvard and all those wonderful degrees and accomplishments, deep down inside, I'm just a girl who grew up on the south side of Chicago.
Candid and confident, qualities instilled in her by her parents, went a long way with voters on the campaign trail.
See, because every time in my life, when I tried to do something, there were people around telling me why I couldn't.
And Mrs. Obama was a bridge to African American women in ways like no one else who came before her.
My question to you all is, can we do this?
Even early in her husband's political career, her style earned her the nickname, the closer.
Can we do this? Can we?
She's the closer, because she's going to stand up there and she's going to get right down to the brass tacks of what's happening in the country and what we need to do, and let's get on with it.
Her brother always expected big things from her, just not this.
You know, astronaut maybe, or first woman to swim around the world, or something completely out of the ordinary. But First Lady, that would have been at the bottom of my list.
Yet there she was, election night 2008. This woman who'd grown up poor and whose ancestors were slaves, celebrating her husband's victory and her future as First Lady.
I looked at him and I said, "You are the 44th President of the United States of America. Wow, what a country we live in."
When you saw Michelle Obama walk out on that stage in Grant Park in Chicago, how did you feel?
She looked like she belonged there. And that's how I felt. I felt like I belong here. And all my ancestors belonged here. Everyone that ever dreamed about her was validated in that moment.
They went from a relatively normal middle-class family living in a small apartment in Hyde Park in Chicago to becoming the first family of the nation.